Your value is determined by how much you make others feel, your presence, your work, and your worth. Make them fear the silence when you're gone. Have you ever wondered what it takes to become someone people can't afford to lose? I'm not talking about being someone with a flashy title or living a perfect life. I'm talking about becoming a person so valuable, so irreplaceable, that losing you would be a loss they can't recover from. Imagine being the kind of person who shows up, gives their all, and leaves a lasting impact everywhere they go. That's the kind of person I want to help you become. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build the kind of strength, resilience, and value that makes people take notice. I'm talking about becoming someone who inspires respect, someone who doesn't need to beg for attention, because your presence speaks for itself. If you're tired of feeling overlooked or undervalued, this is your chance to change that. It's time to stop playing small and start showing the world just how powerful and important you are. I'm going to take you step by step through the process of becoming the kind of person who demands respect without saying a word, who works tirelessly behind the scenes and still earns admiration. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be determined. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what it takes to build that kind of presence and make people fear losing you. If you're ready to level up, to stop letting opportunities pass you by, and to show the world your true worth, then stay with me. This is your time. Let's dive in and get started. Number 1, become so good they can't ignore you. Life doesn't reward people who blend in. It rewards those who stand out. If you want people to fear losing you, if you want to be someone they respect, admire, and value, you have to become so good they can't ignore you. You have to reach a level where your presence is a privilege, not something people take for granted. Now, I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about demanding attention or forcing people to notice you. That's not real value. Real value comes from becoming the kind of person who is so skilled, so knowledgeable, and so strong in character that people recognize your worth instantly. You don't have to chase approval because your results speak for themselves. Think about the people who are truly respected in any field. They are not average. They are not just good enough. They are exceptional. And because they are exceptional, losing them is costly. You want to be that person in your career, in your relationships, in your personal life. You want to be the one they don't want to lose. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you make yourself valuable. So let me ask you something. What are you doing right now to make yourself valuable? What skill are you mastering? What knowledge are you building? What results are you producing? Because if you can't answer that, then you have work to do. If you're just floating through life, doing what's comfortable, staying where it's safe, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not becoming valuable. The first step to becoming so good they can't ignore you is mastering your skills. And I mean mastery, not just surface level understanding. If you're in business, be the best in your field. If you're an artist, create work that demands attention. If you're an athlete, train harder than anyone else. Whatever you do, aim for excellence. Because when you're great at what you do, people notice. And when they notice, they respect you. But here's the truth. Most people don't want to hear. Getting good at something takes time. It takes patience. It takes long hours of practice when nobody is watching. It takes pushing yourself when you feel like quitting. Most people don't want to put in that kind of effort. That's why most people never reach the level where they become irreplaceable. But if you do, you will separate yourself from the crowd. Now let's talk about your reputation. Because being skilled isn't enough. You also have to be someone people trust, someone people admire. Your character, your attitude, your work ethic, these things matter. If you're unreliable, if you cut corners, if you make excuses, then it doesn't matter how talented you are. People won't value you. They won't fear losing you. Because deep down they'll know they can replace you with someone who is just as talented but more reliable. You need to be the person who delivers every time. The one people can count on. The one who does what they say they'll do. When people know that you always show up, always give your best, and always bring results, they don't want to lose you. Because finding someone like that is rare. But let's go deeper. Because if you really want to be someone people fear losing, you have to go beyond just skills and reputation. You have to build a mindset that makes you unstoppable. That means you don't wait for opportunities. You create them. You don't complain about circumstances. You change them. You don't hope things get better. You make them better. This kind of mindset is powerful because most people don't have it. Most people wait for permission, for the perfect time, for someone to tell them they're good enough. But when you take control of your own life, when you decide that you're going to become great no matter what, people take notice. And let me tell you something. When you operate at this level, people will try to bring you down. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something right. Some people won't like seeing you grow. They won't like seeing you become more valuable. Why? Because it reminds them of what they're not doing. But don't let that stop you. Keep pushing forward. Keep improving. Keep setting higher standards for yourself. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Now some of you might be thinking, Jim, what if I don't have the resources? What if I don't have the connections? What if I don't have the experience? Let me tell you something. None of that matters if you have the right mindset. You don't need resources to start improving. You don't need connections to develop skills. You don't need experience to take the first step. What you need is commitment. Every successful person started somewhere. Nobody is born great. They became great because they made a decision to work, to learn, to grow. And they stuck with it, even when it was hard. Even when nobody believed in them. Even when they had every reason to quit. So I'll ask you again, what are you doing right now to make yourself valuable? Because the truth is, people only fear losing what they can't replace. If you're just like everyone else, if you don't bring anything unique to the table, then losing you won't feel like a loss. But if you become so good they can't ignore you, if you become the kind of person who makes an impact, then people will see you differently. They will respect you, and they will fear losing you. Number 2, work on yourself more than you work on others. Most people spend their whole lives trying to fix other people. They try to change their friends, improve their relationships, or get people to see their worth. But the truth is, you'll never make people respect you by focusing on them. If you want to be valued, if you want people to fear losing you, you have to work on yourself more than you work on others. That means shifting your focus. That means putting yourself first, not in a selfish way, but in a way that builds you into the kind of person who naturally commands respect. Because here's what most people don't realize. When you elevate yourself, everything around you changes. People start treating you differently. Opportunities start opening up. And the ones who once took you for granted suddenly start paying attention. But it doesn't happen because you begged them to see your worth. It happens because you became someone they couldn't ignore. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you truly invested in yourself? I'm not talking about buying new clothes or getting a new haircut. I'm talking about real investment, learning new skills, expanding your mind, taking care of your body, building your character. If you want to be someone people value, you have to be someone of value. And that starts with growth. Think about the most successful people in the world. The ones who walk into a room and instantly command respect. The ones who never have to chase attention because attention finds them. They didn't get there by accident. They built themselves into that person. And they did it by working on themselves every single day. They didn't waste time trying to change others. They focused on becoming better, stronger, smarter. And as a result, people naturally gravitated toward them. But most people do the opposite. They try to fix their relationships while ignoring their own flaws. They try to make people like them while neglecting their own growth. They want others to value them, but they haven't done the work to become valuable. And then they wonder why they keep getting overlooked, why people don't take them seriously, why they always feel like they have to prove themselves. It's because they're chasing something that should be coming to them naturally. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone when you become valuable. Your presence alone will make people take notice. But that doesn't happen overnight. That takes work. That takes discipline. That takes stepping up every single day and asking yourself, how can I improve? How can I become stronger? How can I make sure that when I walk into a room, people see someone they don't want to lose? And let me tell you something. When you start doing this, when you really commit to working on yourself, people are going to notice. Some will admire you. Some will be inspired by you, and some will be intimidated.
Because the truth is, not everyone wants to see you grow. When you start elevating yourself, you expose the people who are comfortable staying the same. And sometimes they won't like that. They'll try to pull you back. They'll tell you you're changing too much. They'll make you feel guilty for wanting more. But here's the thing. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to become better. And anyone who doesn't support that isn't someone you should be worried about losing. Because the right people, the people who truly value you, will respect your growth. They'll see your hard work, and they'll fear losing you. Not because you threaten to leave, but because they know that someone like you doesn't come around often. That's the key. You don't make people fear losing you by playing games, by manipulating, by trying to force them to see your worth. You do it by becoming so good, so disciplined, so strong in who you are, that they can't help but recognize your value. And if they don't, if they still take you for granted, then you have to be willing to walk away. Because when you truly work on yourself, you'll realize that you don't need anyone who doesn't see your worth. You won't tolerate being treated like an option when you know you're a priority. But that confidence, that sense of self-worth, only comes from within. It doesn't come from hoping others see you differently. It doesn't come from begging for respect. It comes from doing the work, from pushing yourself every day, from setting higher standards and sticking to them. So stop wasting your time trying to fix people who don't want to change. Stop hoping that others will finally wake up and see your value. Turn that energy in, work on yourself. Develop your skills, strengthen your mindset, build a life that makes people want to be around you. Because when you do that, you won't have to convince anyone to fear losing you. They'll see it for themselves. And trust me, they will notice.
Number 3, control your emotions. Never beg for attention. The moment you start begging for attention, the moment you start chasing people, you lose value. Because here's the truth. People don't respect what's always available. They don't appreciate what they don't have to work for. And if you're constantly seeking approval, if you're always trying to prove yourself, you're sending the wrong message. You're telling people that your worth depends on their recognition. And that's a dangerous place to be. You have to understand something. Your value doesn't decrease just because someone else doesn't see it. Your worth isn't measured by how much attention people give you. But too many people forget that. They let their emotions control them. They start craving validation. They get caught up in the need to be noticed, to be appreciated, to be accepted. And when that doesn't happen, they feel lost. They feel like they have to do more, say more, give more, just to be seen. That's not power. That's weakness. And if you want to be someone people respect, someone they don't want to lose, you have to control your emotions. You have to stop seeking attention and start commanding respect. There's a big difference between wanting to be valued and needing to be valued. When you need validation from others, you become dependent on it. You let their approval define you. And when people sense that you need them, when they realize that your confidence depends on their recognition, they start to take you for granted. Because now they know they have control. They can give you attention when they want, and they can take it away. And you'll be left waiting, hoping, wondering what you did wrong. But when you stop chasing, when you stop needing approval, everything changes. Suddenly you're not the one waiting. You're not the one hoping. You're not the one depending on someone else's validation to feel worthy. You're just living. You're focused on your growth, your success, your purpose. And people notice that. They see that you're different, that you're not like everyone else who's desperate for attention. And that's when they start to respect you. That's when they start fearing losing you. Because they know you don't need them, but they might just need you. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem untouchable, the ones who walk into a room and instantly command attention without even trying. They don't beg for validation. They don't chase people. They don't let their emotions control them. They move with purpose. They carry themselves with confidence. They know who they are, and they don't need anyone else to confirm it. That's what you need to aim for. That kind of presence, that kind of strength. And it all starts with self-control. Because when you can control your emotions, when you can stand firm in who you are, without constantly seeking approval, people respect you. They value you. They start to fear losing you. Not because you forced them to, but because they recognize that you are someone worth keeping. But here's the challenge. Controlling your emotions isn't easy. It takes discipline. It takes awareness. It takes knowing when to step back, instead of reacting. When someone ignores you, When someone doesn't appreciate you, your first instinct might be to prove yourself, to remind them of your worth, to try harder. But that's the wrong move. The right move is to pull back, to focus on yourself, to keep building, keep improving, keep moving forward, without needing their validation. That's how you build real power. That's how you make people take notice, not by trying to convince them of your worth, but by showing them through your actions, through your growth, through your ability to stand strong, even when they don't give you the recognition you deserve. And let me tell you something, when you operate like this, something interesting happens. The same people who once ignored you, the ones who didn't see your value, they start paying attention. They start wondering why you're not chasing anymore, why you're not seeking their approval. And suddenly, they're the ones who feel like they might lose something valuable. But by then, you won't even be worried about that. Because once you learn to control your emotions, once you stop needing validation, you become unstoppable. You become someone people don't want to lose. And the best part, you won't even need them to see your worth, because you'll already know it yourself. Number 4, build strong relationships, but never depend on them most. People go through life thinking relationships define them. They believe their worth is tied to how many friends they have, how many people admire them, or how much love and attention they receive. But let me tell you something. Real power doesn't come from depending on others. It comes from building yourself up so that people respect you, not because you need them, but because they know you can stand on your own. Too many people make the mistake of clinging to relationships, friendships, and connections out of fear. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of not having a support system. They're afraid that if they lose certain people, they'll lose a part of themselves. But that's not how it should be. A strong relationship is built on respect, not dependency. The moment you start relying on others to feel whole, you give away your power. You put your happiness, your confidence, your identity in someone else's hands. And when you do that, you make yourself easy to control. You have to understand something. People respect those who are strong enough to walk alone. It doesn't mean you don't care about others. It doesn't mean you push people away. It means you don't need anyone to complete you, because you are already complete. And when you carry yourself that way, people notice. They recognize that you are different, that you are not easily swayed. And suddenly, they start valuing you more. They start fearing losing you, not because you threaten to leave, but because they know someone like you is rare. Think about the most successful, admired people in the world. Do you think they spend their time begging for attention? Do you think they hold on to toxic relationships just because they're afraid of being alone? No, they know their value. They know that relationships should be built on mutual respect, not neediness. And because they carry themselves that way, people naturally want to be around them. That's how you need to operate. Build strong relationships, but never depend on them. Love people, appreciate them, support them, but never make the mistake of thinking you can't survive without them. Because the truth is, the only person you should ever fully depend on is yourself. When you reach that level, when you truly become self-sufficient, everything changes. People start treating you differently. They respect your time more. They listen when you speak. They make an effort to keep you around, because now they know you are not someone who sticks around just because you're afraid to be alone. They know that if they don't treat you right, if they don't value you, you will walk away. And that's what makes them fear losing you. But here's the catch. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to be independent while secretly craving validation. People can sense desperation. They can feel when someone is only acting strong on the outside, but is weak on the inside. True independence comes from knowing your worth, from understanding that you are enough, from believing that whether people stay or go, you will be just fine. And let me tell you, the moment you reach that level, you will start attracting a different kind of energy. The people who once took you for granted will start wondering why you're not chasing them anymore. The ones who thought they had control over you will realize they never really did. And the ones who genuinely appreciate you will step up, because now they know you are someone worth keeping. So stop clinging to relationships out of fear. Stop believing that you need anyone to feel whole. Work on yourself. Build your confidence. Become someone who brings value to others, not because you need them, but because you choose to. And when you do that, you won't have to make people fear losing you. They'll feel it on their own, because they'll see that you are not just another person who depends on them. You are someone they don't want to live without. Number 5. Be the person who brings solutions, Most people go through life reacting to problems instead of solving them. They wait for someone else to figure things out. They complain when things don't go their way. They get frustrated when life is unfair, but they don't do anything to change it. And let me tell you something, that's exactly why most people are replaceable, because they bring nothing of value to the table. They wait for someone else to fix things, instead of being the one who brings solutions. If you want people to fear losing you, if you want to be someone they respect, someone they look up to, then you have to be the person who finds answers, not the one who makes excuses. Because the truth is, people don't value those who just point out problems. They value the ones who can solve them. Look around. Every workplace, every business, every relationship. There are two kinds of people: the ones who complain about what's wrong, and the ones who step up and fix it. And let me tell you, the second group is rare. That's why they are the ones who rise. They are the ones who are trusted, respected, and admired. They don't just sit around waiting for things to get better. They take action. They figure things out. They make things happen. And because of that, people know they can count on them. And when you are someone people can count on, you become valuable. You become irreplaceable. Think about the people in your own life. Who do you admire? Who do you respect? Is it the person who always talks about what's wrong? Or is it the person who always has a way to make things better? The person who stays calm in chaos? The one who always knows what to do? That's the kind of person you need to become. The one who brings clarity when there's confusion. The one who keeps moving forward when everyone else is stuck. But here's what you have to understand. This isn't about being perfect. You don't need to have all the answers all the time. You just need to be the one who looks for them. The one who takes responsibility instead of shifting blame. The one who asks, how can we fix this? Instead of saying, this isn't fair. That mindset alone will set you apart from 90% of people. Because the reality is, most people don't want responsibility. They want comfort. They want things to be easy. They want someone else to figure it out. But here's the secret. If you're the one who figures it out, you become powerful. You become necessary. You become the person people don't want to lose. Let's talk about business for a second. The most successful people in any company are not the ones who show up, do the bare minimum, and go home. It's the ones who go beyond what's expected. The ones who don't just say, that's not my job. The ones who find ways to improve things, to make things more efficient, to bring new ideas to the table. Those are the people who get promoted. Those are the people who get opportunities. Because every leader, every business owner, every decision maker values people who bring solutions. They don't care about the ones who just sit there and wait. And this applies to every part of life, even in relationships, in friendships, in family dynamics. People appreciate those who bring stability, not chaos. If you're the person who always adds value, who always helps others grow, who always makes situations better instead of worse, people will respect you. They will want you around. They will fear losing you because they know you are not easy to replace. But here's the mistake most people make. They think being a problem solver means fixing everything for everyone. That's not what I'm saying. This isn't about carrying other people's weight. This isn't about doing everything for others while they sit back and do nothing. It's about being the kind of person who takes charge of their own life, who doesn't wait for someone else to make things better, who takes ownership of their situation and moves forward, no matter what. And when you do that, people notice. They see that you are different, that you don't complain, you take action, that you don't panic, you find a way, that you don't rely on luck, you create opportunities. And that's when they start respecting you. That's when they start realizing you are not someone they can afford to lose. So let me ask you, are you someone who solves problems? Or are you someone who waits for things to change? Are you the one people count on? Or are you just another person hoping someone else figures it out? Because the moment you become the person who brings solutions, everything changes. Your value increases. Your opportunities grow. And the people around you start seeing you in a whole new way. Be the one who steps up. Be the one who takes charge. Be the one who finds a way forward, no matter what. And watch how people start fearing the idea of losing you. Not because you force them to. Not because you beg for their attention. But because they know you are someone they need. Number 6, strengthen your mindset. Never settle for less. Most people settle. They settle for what's easy, what's comfortable, what's safe. They settle for relationships that don't challenge them, jobs that don't inspire them,
and routines that keep them exactly where they are. And the moment you settle, the moment you tell yourself, this is good enough, you stop growing, you stop improving, you stop becoming the person you were meant to be. And the worst part, when you settle for less, people start treating you like you deserve less. They stop seeing you as someone valuable. They stop fearing the idea of losing you. Because deep down, they know you're not striving for anything greater. If you want people to respect you, to see your worth, to fear losing you, you have to strengthen your mindset. You have to decide, right now, that you will never settle for less than you deserve. You have to believe that there is more for you out there, that you are capable of more, that you can demand more from life. And when you start believing that, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your standards rise, your presence shifts. People can feel it when you know your worth. And when they feel it, they treat you differently. But here's the problem. Most people don't even realize they're settling. They don't see it happening. It starts small. Maybe you stay in a job that doesn't fulfill you because it's easier than looking for something better. Maybe you stay in a relationship that's draining you because you're afraid of being alone. Maybe you keep the same habits, the same routine, the same way of thinking because change feels uncomfortable. And little by little, you lower your expectations. You start accepting less than you should. And before you know it, years have passed, and you're stuck in a life that no longer excites you. That's why you have to wake up. You have to recognize when you're playing small. You have to catch yourself when you start making excuses. And you have to make a decision. Are you going to keep settling? Or are you going to demand more from yourself? Because let me tell you something. No one is going to come and raise your standards for you. No one is going to push you to be better if you don't want it for yourself. You have to be the one to decide that your life, your time, your energy is valuable. And when you make that decision, when you commit to never settling for less, the world around you starts to change. People respect those who respect themselves. If you carry yourself like you deserve the best, people will start treating you that way. If you walk into a room with confidence, if you speak with certainty, if you hold yourself to a higher standard, people will notice, and they will treat you accordingly. But if you accept less, if you allow yourself to be mistreated, if you lower your standards just to fit in, or to make others comfortable, people will take advantage of that. You have to be willing to walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. And I know that's not always easy. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to say, I deserve better, and actually mean it. It's scary to leave behind a situation that feels familiar, even if it's not good for you. It's hard to let go of relationships that don't help you grow. It's uncomfortable to push yourself beyond your limits. But let me tell you something. Every successful, confident, respected person you see today had to make that choice at some point. They had to choose growth over comfort. They had to choose progress over fear. And that choice is what made them powerful. And let's be clear, this isn't about being arrogant. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about knowing your worth. It's about refusing to let fear keep you stuck. It's about deciding that your life is too valuable to waste in situations that don't push you forward. So take a look at your life right now. Where are you settling? What areas of your life have you been avoiding because you're afraid of change? Where do you know deep down that you deserve better? Once you identify those areas, you have to take action. You have to set new standards for yourself. You have to train your mind to expect more, to demand more, to push for more. Because when you do, you will see everything around you shift. And here's the most important part. Once you strengthen your mindset, once you decide that you will never settle, people will notice. They will feel that shift in you, and they will start fearing losing you. Because now you are no longer someone who accepts whatever life throws at you. You are someone who creates their own path. You are someone who knows their value. And that is the kind of person people respect, admire, and never want to lose. So don't settle. Don't accept less than you deserve. Strengthen your mindset. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Demand more from yourself and from life. And watch how people start treating you differently. Watch how they start valuing you more. Watch how they start realizing you are someone they can't afford to lose.
Number 7, keep improving. Never stay the same. Most people want success. They want respect. They want to be valued. But here's the truth. Most people stay the same. They wake up every day and repeat the same habits, think the same thoughts, and make the same choices. And then they wonder why nothing changes. They wonder why they don't get the opportunities they want, why people don't respect them the way they wish they would, why life feels stuck. Let me tell you something. If you want people to see your value, if you want them to fear losing you, you cannot stay the same. You have to keep improving. You have to grow so much that the person you were last year is unrecognizable compared to the person you are today. People respect growth. They respect transformation. When they see someone who is constantly getting better, who is always learning, always evolving, they take notice, they pay attention, because that kind of person is rare. Most people get comfortable. They do just enough to get by. But if you want to be valuable, if you want people to fear losing you, you have to be different. You have to be the kind of person who never stops improving. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who stayed the same? Or are they the ones who kept pushing themselves, kept reaching for something greater? The people who are respected, who are valued, who are seen as irreplaceable, are the ones who never stop growing. They don't settle. They don't coast through life. They challenge themselves. Even when it's uncomfortable, they push through failure. Even when it's discouraging, they keep going. Even when no one else is watching. And that's what you have to do. You have to get better every single day. You have to wake up and ask yourself, how can I be better than I was yesterday? Better in your skills, better in your mindset, better in your discipline. Because here's what happens when you keep improving. People start recognizing your value. They start realizing that you are not like everyone else, that you are not easy to replace, that if they don't appreciate you, someone else will. But let me tell you why most people don't improve. It's not because they don't have the ability. It's not because they don't have the time. It's because improvement requires effort. It requires change. And change is uncomfortable. Growth is hard. It means stepping into the unknown. It means admitting that you don't know everything. It means challenging your own beliefs, your own habits, your own way of thinking. And most people would rather stay comfortable than go through that. But comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort keeps you stuck. It keeps you at the same level, year after year, while the world moves forward. And then one day you wake up and realize you've been left behind. You realize that the opportunities you wanted, the respect you craved, the life you dreamed of, it didn't happen. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't push yourself, because you allowed yourself to stay the same. You have to understand that growth is a daily process. It's not something you do once and forget about. It's a commitment, a decision you make every single day. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. You need to learn something new, practice a skill, read, challenge yourself, step outside your comfort zone, do something that makes you stronger, wiser, more capable. And when you do that, people take notice. They see that you are serious about your growth, that you are not wasting your potential, that you are becoming more valuable every day. And that's when they start fearing losing you. Because now, you are not just another person going through life on autopilot. You are someone who is moving forward, someone who is constantly leveling up, someone who is becoming so valuable that they know they cannot afford to take you for granted. But here's the truth. You cannot do this for them. You cannot improve just to impress other people. Because if you do, you will burn out. You will lose motivation the moment they stop paying attention. You have to do this for you. You have to improve because you owe it to yourself, because you want to be proud of who you are becoming, because you refuse to settle for anything less than your full potential. So let me ask you, who are you becoming? Are you growing? Are you improving? Or are you staying the same? Because every single day you have a choice. You can wake up and keep doing what you've always done, staying in the same place, getting the same results. Or you can wake up and make the decision to get better, to push yourself, to take another step toward the person you know you are meant to be. And when you make that choice, when you commit to never staying the same, people will notice. They will see your value. They will respect you. And they will fear losing you because they know you are not just anyone. You are someone who is going places, someone who is becoming too valuable to ignore. Number 8, develop a strong presence. Command attention naturally. People talk about wanting to stand out, but few actually put in the work required to do it. If you want to be someone others can't ignore, if you want to be that person who walks into a room and instantly commands attention,
You've got to develop a presence that speaks louder than your words, louder than your actions, even louder than your success. It's not something that happens overnight, but it's something that you can build layer by layer, decision by decision. It's not about being flashy. It's not about trying to be someone you're not. It's about being so confident in who you are, so secure in your worth, that people just can't help but notice you. They can't help but be drawn to you. When you walk into a room, do you own it? Are people immediately aware of your energy, your confidence, your presence? Or do you fade into the background, unnoticed, because you haven't developed that presence? And I'm not talking about how loud you are, or how much space you take up physically. I'm talking about how you make people feel when you're around. Your presence should be felt before you even speak. People should look at you and know, this person is different. This person is someone who deserves respect. But most people don't understand what it means to have a strong presence. They think it's about being extroverted, or being in the spotlight. They think it's about being the loudest, or the most outgoing in the room. That's not what presence is. True presence comes from confidence. It comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. It comes from being so comfortable in your own skin that it naturally draws people toward you. And that's the kind of person you need to be if you want to command attention. Think about the people you respect the most. Think about the people who naturally draw you in. Are they the loudest? Are they the most over the top? Probably not. Most of the time, they're the ones who are calm, collected, and confident. They don't need to scream for attention. Their energy speaks for itself. They don't try to impress. They just show up as themselves, unapologetically. And that's enough. You can feel their presence. You can feel their power. And that's what you need to develop for yourself. The key to developing a strong presence is to be intentional. You have to start by being aware of how you show up in the world. How do you carry yourself? How do you speak? How do you interact with others? Every little thing matters. The way you walk into a room, the way you stand, the way you make eye contact. All of these things communicate something to the people around you. And if you're not paying attention to these details, you're missing out on opportunities to strengthen your presence. When you walk into a room, stand tall, own the space you're in. Don't slouch or shrink. When you make eye contact with someone, don't look away first. Hold their gaze. Don't be afraid to take up space. Don't be afraid to be noticed. Because here's the thing, when you're confident in who you are, when you carry yourself like you matter, other people start to believe it too. They start to take you seriously. And when that happens, your presence is undeniable. But here's the part most people miss. The strength of your presence isn't just about the physical things. It's not just about your body language. It's about your mindset. It's about your belief in yourself and in your ability to make an impact. It's about walking into a room, knowing that you have something valuable to offer, that your ideas matter, that your presence is worth something. People can sense when you doubt yourself. They can sense when you're unsure, but they can also sense when you're sure, when you believe in yourself, when you have the courage to show up as you are, without needing anyone's approval. And the beauty of it is, once you develop this presence, you don't need to try anymore. People will notice you. They'll be drawn to you. They'll want to be around you. Because there's something magnetic about someone who is confident in who they are. And that's the kind of person you want to become. Someone who doesn't need to scream for attention. Someone whose presence is so strong that people naturally look your way. But remember, this is something that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to work at it. You have to practice carrying yourself with confidence every day. You have to practice being comfortable in your own skin, even when it feels difficult. You have to practice showing up as yourself, unapologetically, no matter what anyone else thinks. And the more you do this, the stronger your presence will become. The more you practice owning your space, the more natural it will feel. And soon you'll realize that you don't just walk into a room, you own it. People will feel your energy. They will see you as someone they respect, and they will fear losing you, because they know that you're not just anyone. You're someone who has something to offer. You're someone who commands attention without even trying. And that is the power of presence.
Number 9, build wealth. Financial freedom earns respect. The days when you just don't feel like working, you know you should. But everything inside you is screaming to take a break, to just sit back and relax for a while. to do anything other than what you know you should be doing. But here's the hard truth. Nothing gets done if you don't push yourself, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. It's so easy to fall into that trap. Life can get heavy. It's not always easy to keep going when you're tired, when things aren't going your way, when you're facing challenges that seem too big to overcome. But the winners in this world, the ones who achieve their dreams, the ones who don't let their goals slip away, those are the people who have learned how to work when they don't feel like it. They've mastered the art of doing the hard thing even when everything in them is telling them to take it easy. And here's the key. They don't wait until they feel like it. They do it anyway. Think about this. If you only worked when you felt like it, you would never accomplish anything significant. Because let's face it, most of the time, you won't feel like it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was always fun and exciting, no one would need motivation. But we all know that's not the case. The work you need to do to get ahead in life, it's not always going to feel good. It's not always going to be the most exciting part of your day. But that's what sets the winners apart from everyone else. The winners are the ones who push through those moments. They keep going even when the energy isn't there. Because they understand that success doesn't happen when you're sitting on the sidelines. It happens when you show up, day after day, even when it feels hard. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline isn't about motivation. It's about doing what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. It's about building the habits that carry you through the tough times. And believe me, there will be tough times. You'll have days when you feel like giving up. Days when it feels like the weight of everything is on your shoulders. Days when you just want to check out. But if you can push through those days, if you can find the strength to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it, that's when you'll start to see real progress. That's when the magic happens. Look, no one is saying you should push yourself to the point of burnout, but you have to understand that every time you push through the resistance, you build a little more mental strength. You build resilience. And over time, those small actions compound. They lead to bigger results. They lead to success. But if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, for the day when you feel like working, you're never going to get anywhere. Because that day won't come as often as you think. The trick is to start, even when it feels tough, even when you don't have the energy. You just take that first step, and then the next. And before you know it, you're in motion. You're making progress. The truth is, success doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care if you woke up tired or if you've had a rough day. Success is earned by doing the work, even when you don't want to. That's the reality of it. But that's also the opportunity. The opportunity to rise above the struggle, to show yourself and the world that you're not someone who backs down when things get tough. You're someone who pushes forward, even when every part of you wants to stop. And that's how you build success. Now you might be asking, but how do I find the energy to keep going when I'm exhausted? How do I push through when I feel like I'm running on empty? And that's a valid question. First of all, it's important to recognize that you're human. You're not a machine. You don't have unlimited energy. There will be days when you truly need rest. But the key is to differentiate between when you need rest and when you're just looking for an excuse. Sometimes the hardest part is just getting started. It's easy to talk yourself out of things when you're in a negative mindset. You start thinking about all the reasons why it's not worth it, why it's too hard, why you can just do it tomorrow. But here's the thing. Tomorrow is always going to come with its own set of challenges. You'll never get to a point where everything is perfect. So the real trick is to take action today. Even if it's just a small step, even if you don't feel like it, start. Because once you start, the momentum will carry you. Here's something else to consider. When you don't feel like working, you're usually focused on the wrong thing. You're focused on the discomfort, the struggle, the effort. And that's okay. It's natural. But instead of focusing on how hard it is, focus on the end result. Focus on why you're doing it. Remind yourself of your bigger vision. Think about the life you want to create, the things you want to achieve, the person you want to become. When you focus on the bigger picture, the discomfort in the moment becomes easier to deal with. You realize that the work you're putting in today is going to pay off tomorrow. And that's what makes it worth it. And one last thing to keep in mind. Consistency is everything. It's easy to get excited and motivated for a day or two.
But real success comes from doing the work day in and day out, even when you don't feel like it. It's the small actions you take every single day that add up to big results. If you want to be someone who succeeds, you have to become someone who shows up consistently, no matter how they feel. So the next time you don't feel like working, remember this: success is not built on the days when everything feels perfect. It's built on the days when you feel tired, when you feel frustrated, when you feel like giving up. But instead of backing down, you show up anyway. You push through, you do the work, and that's how you get to where you want to be.
Number 10, stay humble but never lower your value. There's something truly remarkable about the people who keep pushing, even when things get tough. It's easy to be inspired by the stories of success, the glamorous moments, the breakthrough moments, when everything clicks. But what people don't often talk about are the countless hours, the moments of frustration, the times when you're tired, broke, and feel like you're doing it all alone. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't always about the external circumstances. Sometimes it's about the ability to keep going when everything tells you to stop. It's about doing it alone, even when you're exhausted, and still finding a way to move forward. There's a certain resilience that's required to keep fighting, to keep going, even when it seems like the world is against you. It's not always glamorous. It's not always fun, but it's always worth it. You have to understand that success doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. It doesn't wait for the perfect timing. Success happens when you decide to go after it, even when you're not at your best, even when you're tired, and even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. The first step in this process is recognizing that no one is coming to save you. Life is tough, and it doesn't care if you're tired or worn out. The world doesn't slow down because you're going through a rough patch. It doesn't stop because you've hit a wall or faced a setback. If you want to win, you have to be willing to show up, even when you're struggling, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. It's about becoming the kind of person who shows up no matter what. You have to dig deep and find the strength inside yourself to keep going, even when you feel like giving up. Now let's be real for a moment. It's easy to talk about pushing through adversity when you're not in the middle of it. But when you're the one who's tired, when you're the one who's drained, when you're the one who's working late into the night, or getting up early while everyone else is sleeping, it doesn't always feel as inspiring. It feels hard. It feels like a burden. And that's okay. You don't have to be excited about it. You don't have to be thrilled to be working when you're tired or frustrated. But you have to do it anyway, because every time you push through that discomfort, you're building something. You're building your future. You're building your success. You're building your strength. You see, it's not about doing things the easy way. It's about doing what's necessary, even when it's difficult. It's about taking action, even when you're tired. And here's the thing. When you push yourself in these moments, when you force yourself to keep going, when you don't feel like it, you're developing mental toughness. You're learning how to endure. You're learning how to fight when you have nothing left to give. And that's the secret to winning. That's what separates the winners from the losers. The ability to endure, to keep going, and to never give up, no matter how hard it gets. The road to success is not paved with ease and comfort. It's paved with hard work, persistence, and the willingness to keep fighting even when it feels impossible. You're going to face moments when you feel alone, when it seems like no one understands what you're going through, when you're exhausted and just want to quit. But in those moments, you have to remind yourself that this is what it takes. This is the price of success. You have to be willing to pay that price. You have to be willing to keep going, even when you're tired, even when you're broke, and even when it feels like you're the only one who believes in your dream. Now let's talk about the fear of failure. It's a powerful emotion, one that can stop you in your tracks if you let it. But the truth is, the fear of failure is something you have to overcome if you want to succeed. And here's something I've learned along the way. Failure isn't the end of the road. It's just a lesson, a stepping stone on the way to your success. The only real failure is giving up. It's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you get back up. It's about the persistence to keep moving forward, no matter how many times you've been knocked down. So what do you do when you're exhausted, when you're struggling, when you feel like you can't keep going. You dig deeper. You find something inside yourself that you didn't know was there. You take that next step, even when it feels impossible, and you keep going, one step at a time. Because here's the thing, when you're doing it alone, when you're broke, when you're tired, you're still moving forward. And that's all that matters. The people who succeed aren't the ones who have it easy. They're the ones who keep going when it's hard. They're the ones who keep pushing when they're tired. They're the ones who refuse to give up, no matter what. This is where real growth happens. This is where you build character, when you do it alone, when you're struggling, and when it feels like you're at your breaking point. That's when you discover what you're truly capable of. That's when you find out just how strong you really are. And that's when you realize that the dream you're chasing is worth every ounce of effort, every drop of sweat, every moment of exhaustion. It's not going to be easy. But if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to keep going when things get tough, if you're willing to fight for your dream, you'll get there, you'll make it. And when you look back, you'll realize that all those tough times, all those moments of doubt and struggle, were just part of the journey. They were the moments that shaped you, that made you stronger, that prepared you for the success that's waiting for you. So the next time you feel tired, the next time you feel like you're running on empty, remind yourself that this is the price you pay for success. This is what it takes. And you've got what it takes. You've got the strength to keep going, the resilience to push through, and the courage to keep fighting. Because success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who show up, day after day, no matter how hard it gets. And if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to keep going, even when you're tired, broke and struggling, if you're willing to do it alone, even when it feels like no one else believes in you, then success will be yours. Keep fighting, keep moving forward, never give up. And one day, you'll look back and realize that everything you went through was worth it.